Every morning you wake up, make your coffee, and throw the leftover grounds straight in the bin. I used to do the same thing, but here's what nobody told me. Those wet grounds sitting in your trash right now, your garden is starving for exactly that. Today I'm going to show you 3 ways to put them to work, starting with the easiest one you can do in the next 5 minutes. And the third method, most gardeners have never even heard of it, but it's the one that gets you the fastest results by far. Stay with me. Welcome to Backyard Harvest Life. Every week I share one simple, low-cost way to grow more food without overcomplicating it. Hit subscribe if that's your kind of thing. Everything here is free. All right, let's get into it. Scratch it into the soil. This is the simplest thing you can do, and it works. Take your used coffee grounds, the wet clump left in the filter after you brew, and sprinkle them directly on top of your garden bed. Keep the layer thin. We're talking a light dusting, no thicker than a coin. Then take your fingers or a small rake and gently scratch them into the top inch of soil. Done. That's the whole method. Do this once a week, and within a month, your soil starts changing. You can feel it when you pick up a handful. It gets darker, more crumbly, more alive. Now, the mistake most people make, and I made this too early on, is piling the grounds up thick around the base of their plants. It feels like you're doing something generous. You're not. A thick layer of coffee grounds actually crusts over on the surface and stops water from getting through. Rain hits it and runs off instead of soaking in. Your plants get less water, not more. Thin and spread out always wins over thick and clumped together. Method 2. Add them to your compost. If you're running a compost pile, coffee grounds are one of the best things you can feed it. Your compost needs 2 types of material to break down properly: brown stuff, dry leaves, cardboard, straw, and green stuff, nitrogen-rich materials that speed up the whole process. Coffee grounds are green. They kick the pile into gear and help everything break down faster. Just toss them in whenever you have them. If you drink 2 cups a day, you're producing enough grounds each week to make a real difference in a standard compost pile. And if you're building a lasagna bed, where you layer materials directly on the ground instead of digging, coffee grounds go between your brown layers. They'll break down right there in the bed and feed your soil from the inside out. Method 3. The liquid drench. This is the one most people have never tried. And honestly, once you do it, you'll wonder why you waited. It's called a liquid soil drench. Think of it as a homemade plant feed made from coffee grounds. Here's how you make it. Take 2 to 3 cups of used coffee grounds. Drop them into a 5-gallon bucket of water. Give it a good stir, then leave it alone overnight, anywhere from 8 to 24 hours. By morning, the water turns a deep brown color. What's happened is the soluble nutrients from the grounds have dissolved into the water. Now, instead of waiting weeks for those nutrients to slowly break down in the soil, you're pouring them directly into the root zone. Plants can start pulling from it within days. Take that bucket and pour it slowly and evenly across your garden bed. If you have plants right now that look pale, tired, or just not growing the way they should, try this method this weekend. It's the fastest turnaround of the 3. Let me give you the quick version because once you understand this, you'll use coffee grounds with way more confidence. Used grounds contain 3 nutrients that every plant needs: nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. If you've ever picked up a bag of fertilizer from the garden center, those are the 3 letters printed on the front: NPK. Coffee grounds have all 3. But here's the big difference between coffee grounds and synthetic fertilizer. Synthetic fertilizer hits your plants fast and hard. Big spike, then it's gone. Your plants get a short burst of energy, and then it drops off. Coffee grounds don't work like that. They break down slowly over weeks and months. Steady, consistent feeding. No spike, no crash. That slow release is actually what roots prefer. Strong, even growth. Not a rush followed by nothing. The second thing grounds do, and most gardening content skips over this completely, is they attract earthworms. Earthworms are drawn to the organic matter in coffee grounds. They move toward it, and more earthworms in your soil means better aeration, better drainage, faster breakdown of everything else you put in the bed. One simple weekly habit triggers a whole chain of improvements underground that you don't even see until you dig a handful of soil and count what's living in it. You've probably heard that coffee grounds make your soil too acidic. This comes up every time coffee grounds are mentioned in gardening circles, and it stops a lot of people from ever trying them. So let's deal with it properly. Fresh, unbrewed coffee grounds, yes, those are acidic, but used grounds, the ones left after brewing, are almost neutral. The pH sits around 6.5 to 6.8. The reason is simple. The acidic compounds in coffee dissolve into the water when you brew it. They end up in your cup. What's left in the filter is close to neutral. When you apply used grounds in normal quantities, a cup or two spread across a standard bed once a week, they will not meaningfully shift your soil pH, not even close. What they will do is feed your soil's biology, add nitrogen, and bring in more earthworms. So don't let the pH myth be the reason you keep throwing them away. Don't apply coffee grounds directly around seedlings or very young plants. Used grounds still carry small amounts of caffeine residue. It's minimal, but it can slow down germination in early root development. Not something you want when a plant is just getting started. Wait until your plants are at least 3 to 4 inches tall with their second set of true leaves. After that, mature, established plants handle it fine. No issue at all. If you brew 1 or 2 cups a day at home, that gives you enough to treat a standard garden bed once a week. That's ideal. But if you want more, and using more is fine as long as you apply it right, there's a free supply sitting in every coffee shop in your area. Cafes go through kilograms of coffee every single day. Most of them are throwing all of it away. Walk in and ask if they save their used grounds for gardeners. A lot of them will say yes immediately. Some will start setting a bag aside for you once they know you're coming. One busy cafe can produce more grounds in a single morning than you could use in a month. At home, collect your grounds in an open bowl on the counter. Don't seal them in an airtight container. Wet grounds in a sealed container will mold within a few days. Let them breathe and they'll be fine until your next application day. This matters because the results build slowly, and understanding the timeline stops you from giving up too early. Weeks 1 and 2. You probably won't see much happening above the soil. That's normal. Underground, the grounds are starting to break down. Soil microbes are responding to the new nitrogen. Earthworms are beginning to move toward treated areas. If you dig gently in the spot where you applied the grounds, you'll likely find more worm activity there than anywhere else in the bed. That's your sign it's working. Weeks 4 to 6. Now things start showing on the surface. The soil where you've been applying looks darker. Feels different in your hand, looser, more crumbly. If you've been doing the liquid drench alongside the surface method, you may start seeing a shift in your plants. Slightly deeper green in the leaves. Slightly stronger new growth. Not dramatic, but real. By midsummer, 3 to 4 months of consistent weekly applications, and the improvement is significant. The soil holds moisture better after watering. Earthworm activity is visibly higher. The top layer of the bed has a richer, darker color throughout. Plants grown in this bed show stronger stems, better color, and if you're growing tomatoes or peppers, better fruit set and fewer problems with rot. End of season. You've built a genuinely better growing environment than you started with. For free, using something you were throwing away every single morning. And here's the part that makes this habit worth committing to. Next spring, you start from that improved baseline. Each season stacks on the last one. Coffee grounds versus synthetic fertilizer. I want to be straight with you on this because a lot of gardeners worry that going organic means getting worse results. In the first few weeks of the season, synthetic fertilizer can produce faster, more visible growth. That's true, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But over a full season, and especially over multiple seasons, gardens managed with consistent organic inputs like coffee grounds, compost, and dry leaves consistently outperform gardens that rely only on synthetic fertilizers. Here's why. Synthetic fertilizer feeds your plants. It does nothing for your soil biology, the microbes, the earthworms, the fungal networks that make soil genuinely productive long-term. Use synthetic fertilizer without adding organic matter, and your soil biology slowly depletes. You end up needing more fertilizer each year just to get the same results. Organic inputs do the opposite. Every application you make builds the soil's capacity to grow things, not just this season, but every season after. Coffee grounds are a small but consistent part of that building process. Used every week, season after season, they become part of a soil that keeps getting better rather than one that slowly degrades. Here's something nobody talks about in gardening content. When you start applying coffee grounds every week and actually paying attention to how your soil responds, you develop something experienced gardeners call soil intuition. It sounds like it takes years. It doesn't. You start noticing things you never paid attention to before. The color of your soil after a week of applications, how it feels when you squeeze it, the way it drains after rain in the treated spot versus the untreated spot, where the earthworms show up, how your plants grow differently in the bed you've been feeding versus the one you haven't touched. Those observations, made week after week through one growing season, teach you more about how your specific soil works than any book or video can. And that knowledge compounds. Everything you notice this season makes you sharper next season. Early spring, before planting, scatter coffee grounds across the whole bed and scratch them in. This wakes up the soil biology after winter. Microbes have been mostly dormant for months, and the nitrogen gives them something to start working with as temperatures rise. Do this once before your first seeds or transplants go in. Active growing season. Apply once a week using the direct surface method. For heavy feeders like tomatoes, peppers, or courgettes, add a liquid drench once every 3 weeks on top of the regular application. Surface feeding keeps a steady background supply of nutrients. The drench gives a faster boost during the periods your plants need it most. Late summer. When plants are in full production, shift your focus to the liquid drench. Your bed has already absorbed months of surface applications by this point. The soil biology is active. The drench gets nutrients straight to the roots of plants that are working hard. Autumn. After you clear the beds, spread a final layer of coffee grounds on the surface and leave it. Don't scratch it in. Let winter rain and frost do the work. Come spring, you'll find the soil has improved again without you having to do anything. That compounding effect, each season building on the last, each free input adding to the soil, that's the foundation of what this channel is about. You're not trying to fix everything in one season. You're building something that gets better over time. Coffee grounds are one of the simplest habits you can start right now. Free every morning, effective when applied correctly, and completely in line with how healthy soil actually works. The best gardens aren't built with expensive products. They're built with simple habits done consistently over time. This is one of those habits. If you're already using coffee grounds in your garden, drop a comment and tell me which method you use, or if you're going to try the liquid drench this weekend for the first time. I read every comment, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. Every week I share one practical, low-cost soil tip just like this one. No fluff, nothing to buy. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next one. Build good soil. Everything else follows.